I installed the electric system temporarily. I still have to remove these coils to be able to install the flywheel. I need to clean up this wiring. The way they had them in the past, they just tie wrap them to the intake manifold. I need to clean them a little bit, but I thought to show you the wiring in case you rebuild similar engine and you have issue with your wiring, so you could copy what's going on over here. I will also show you the linkages and how to set them up. I tested the stator and it is shorted. I have to replace it. There's an opening right here in the coil and right here. If you take a voltmeter and put it on ohm, you should read some resistance over here, and it should be open circuit between any of these wire to the frame of the stator, the metal part. This one, it doesn't read anything because it's open. The coil is cut. Also, the regulator is damaged. This pin and this pin is shorted. These two pins, they are the AC input for this regulator, and this over here is the output to charge the battery, or this wire right here. It was connected right in the middle. From this electric box, you will have yellow and brown wire will connect to this coil, and another yellow and brown wire longer, they go to the other coil. The green wire will connect to the frame of the engine, same as the frame of the regulator, and both this one and this one, they connected to the negative side of the battery. The white wire will connect directly to this harness, and this will connect to your machine. The green wire of this harness will connect to the oil pressure sensor. The brown wire of this harness will connect to the middle terminal of this regulator. You have to install the stator first, then the flywheel, and then you have to adjust these coils. I will show you this later on. Once I receive the stator, I will install it and I show you how to adjust these coils. The red wire from this electric box will connect to the solenoid of the carburetor, and the other part, because it supplies right here, you have a 3 connection. You have the one go to this electric box, and one go to the carburetor, and the other one will go to this harness that will connect to your machine. You could also test these coils. You remove these wires and check them with your voltmeter or multimeter. Set it on ohm. And on this particular engine, from this terminal, if there's nothing connected to it, it should read 1.2 kilo ohm to the frame of the coil, and this one should read about 140 ohm from this terminal to the frame of the coil. When I bought the machine, this plastic bushing was missing, and they used some metal wire to keep this linkage in place. I found this black bushing or plastic bushing on eBay, and it was cheap. It cost $2, and this is the part number. I bought 2 of them to keep the other one as a spare. And this will keep this linkage in place. The way to disconnect it, you have to push it this way, and then this linkage will come up like that. To reinstall it, just like that. You need to make sure everything is connected before you adjust your governor. I show you that here in a second. Also, it's a good idea to install the choke before you install the carburetor, because you could move the carburetor and you could insert this linkage into the carburetor and then you install it with these two bolts. I will show you these two springs and then I will show you how to adjust the governor linkage. This part. This portion of this linkage will set the choke. You see the choke closed right now? And this part where the linkage for the throttle will be connected. And this will adjust the speed of this engine. When adjusting the governor linkage or the governor arm, this one right here, I want to make sure the baffle at the bottom of this carburetor, not the top one, but the bottom one, is fully open. Just like that. You push the carburetor all the way like this and hold it like this while you're adjusting the connection point between this arm and this shaft. I will lose this bolt and then I will hold the shaft. It has a small hole. Use an Allen wrench and I have to rotate this shaft to the maximum in this direction, and then I have to hold this arm to the maximum in this direction. Push it all the way to keep the carburetor in full throttle. I'm going to take the 10mm wrench and loosen this bolt. And a small Allen wrench. And like I said, I have to push this pin all the way in this direction. And then with the other finger, I'm going to push this arm all the way in this direction. Both of them in this direction. And that's it. This governor linkage is adjusted. I received and installed the new stator and I routed the cable behind this. It's come with extra cable or wires. I have to insert these into the original connector. I already tested the new stator using this multimeter. I set it on ohm and connected the multimeter leads, each one of them to one of these leads, and I was reading about 3.5 ohms. You need to make sure you don't touch it with your hand because this will give you false reading. Also, I checked the continuity between these leads and the frame of the stator or the engine, and it's open circuit. This is how you verify the stator if it's good or bad. You need to make sure it have resistance across these and open circuit from here to the frame. Now I'm ready to install the flywheel. I position the crankshaft to the top, so when I insert the keyway, it will stay in position. I will remove these coils before I insert the flywheel. After I install the flywheel and torque it to specs, then I will install these coils and I will set the clearance between them and the magnet on the flywheel to 10,000. You need to make sure to set these correctly before you rotate the engine, because if the flywheel hit them, then this may damage these coils, and also it may break these aluminum tabs, and this will damage the block. You have to replace the block. And now I'm ready to install the flywheel. I installed the flywheel and the magnets, and I set the clearance before I rotate the flywheel. What I did, I tied these bolts with the magnets all the way up, both of them. And then I brought the magnet, lined it up with the coil, and I loosed these bolts. If you don't have feeler gauge, you could use thick paper to insert it between the magnet and the coil. Or if you have feeler gauge, it's about 0.010 of an inch. Make sure it's clear it all the way. And then rotate it and do the other one. If you don't set this correctly, and this magnet closer to the center of the flywheel than this magnet, then when this rotates, the magnet will hit it and it will cause all kind of damage to the engine. So be careful, make sure you set this correctly before you proceed any further. And I have a lot of compression in this engine. I already installed the spark plug. I try to prevent contaminant from getting inside the engine.